I don't know what the John Rich account is up to, like 19,000 tweets or something. I mean, yeah, with that one, it probably was at about 1,000 tweets. I knew the account was going to be big, but yeah, that's the exact same with any platform that any of the great accounts had kind of a period of discovery where they needed to test out a bunch of things. A lot of them flopped. Um, yeah, I mean, you're totally right.
And they stuck it through. Like, I think people always they'll like click on an account and obviously all you see is the most recent stuff. You see the very, tippity top of the iceberg, so to speak. You see their most recent post, you see their current follower count, you see their current profile. But what that's hiding is the many, many thousands of tweets, posts, YouTube videos, live streams that, reach nobody to get them to that point. And it will look like it's impossible to build that, but you just keep doing it every day. I mean, you've done it, I've done it. It like you can do it.
Yeah, I think people would be surprised too if they, at least on Twitter, if you go to some of the biggest accounts and look through their timeline, you'd be surprised how many times they've tweeted and it didn't really get many impressions or it didn't do well for them. I think in general, you're only going to see the most popular tweets on your timeline unless you're on Twitter all the time. So I think people assume that these huge accounts, they only post viral tweets. But if you look through, they'll, for every tweet that does extremely well, they have like four or five that just didn't do very well, and you never saw it on your timeline. Um, so even those huge accounts that are well known, they're still experimenting. And I don't know of anyone who has 100% hit rate, but luckily with social media, it's the cost of, I mean, the cost of a bad tweet is basically nothing. It took,
It's just
30 seconds to write. YouTube, I mean, a little more expensive because it takes a lot longer to make a YouTube video than it does a tweet. But still, every great YouTuber has videos that don't do very well.
totally. But the beauty of evergreen content too is that you can just reuse it. If you have a tweet that you thought was great, you can just throw it out there again in 3 months. If you have a YouTube video that was great, or a podcast, you can reclip this up for the next 10 years, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's I think that's some of the best run accounts too have you don't really have to come up with brand new viral tweets. Okay, so like for my profile, I have my pinned tweet is basically the story I told earlier about how I turned parody accounts into a content agency. And I wrote that almost 3 years ago. And that still is kind of the theme of my account. And that's kind of the main thing I want people to see. So every once in a while, I retell that story in a different form. Or I just, I have it pinned so that people see it. The rest of my account is, I kind of just post my thoughts. And as long as people see that first thread, or that pinned thread, I don't really need them to see a bunch of my other stuff. So I do feel like the best accounts have these like, you know, timeless stories that they don't really need to be producing something viral or something amazing every single day. And I think most great accounts or YouTube channels or whatever are kind of known for like two or three hits. And once you have those, you're kind of immortalized no matter what you do, as long as you don't, do something horrible. You don't scam your audience or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially these days.
Yeah.
Everyone with a Twitter account is scamming their audience.
Right.
Can't,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as long as you don't launch like a meme coin that and rug pull everyone. Yeah.
yeah, basically don't be the Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious what ends up happening if she ends up. Has she posted on social media since that happened? I don't really follow like super close. I just see what people post on
I
crypto
I
Twitter.
watched one YouTube video about it and I was like, okay, that's enough for the rest of my life. I've
Yeah,
learned I've
exactly.
learned a little bit too much about this one.